Deanna Cook, stunning, vibrant, athletic. Since an early age, Deanna was always running.
She loved to run, and I used to tell her all the time, you get upset, just run. When things don't go your way, just run.
And she broke records.
Broke records in the 200-yard dash. When she was in the 7th grade, she broke a record.
Not just a star on the track, Deanna was the constant center of attention in her tight-knit family in Dallas, Texas.
When she came in, she was going to be the star of the show. She was just a really fun person. She was always on like 10.
But the brassy beauty had a gentle side too.
I love it.
With her love for animals.
Come here. Come here.
And especially her 2 young daughters.
She loved them girls. She loved them. She would do anything for them.
Deanna raised her girls on this middle-class street in South Dallas. It's a neighborhood I know very well.
I grew up just blocks away from Lincoln High, and you've been to the house where I grew up,
Yes.
to the very house where I grew up as a child. Now, we know that's a rough part of town.
Yes.
But where your daughter was living, that was a nice area.
That's why she moved there, because it was a nice area.
But I can tell you firsthand, the dangers of this area were never far away. Dangers Deanna could never run from. So when Deanna suddenly goes off the radar, her mom, Vicki Cook, knows something isn't right.
August the 17th was a Friday. She used to call me around 10 or 11 every day when she'd be driving for her job. And this particular day, she didn't call.
By Sunday morning, no one in the family has heard from Deanna.
I said, that's not like Deanna. I said, and she haven't called me. I said, so can y'all please help me try to find Deanna?
After church, Vicki enlists Deanna's daughters, who'd been staying with Vicki and Deanna's sister Carletha, to check on her.
We knew something was wrong, but I don't think we were expecting what we found.
At first, there's no clue that something's amiss. Deanna's house is quiet, but there's no sign of Deanna.
We kind of tried to peep in windows, tried to knock on the front door, knock on windows, couldn't get in, couldn't see in. The blinds were kind of like frayed a little bit, but we couldn't see anything.
But then something odd, a river of water gushing from the garage out to the gutter. Deanna's mom, Vicki, reaches out to authorities for help.
Dallas 911, Graham, what's your emergency?
I called 911 and I told them I needed someone to come because I hadn't heard from her in 3 days. And the dogs was barking and nobody's coming to the door, and I needed the police to come.
But the operator insists that police are a last resort.
Have you called all the jails and hospitals?
I know I have not. Ma'am, can you just send the police over here?
No, ma'am, you have to do this first.
I kept telling her, I don't know what you're talking about. I need someone to come here now.
That's when I said, hang up that phone, Mom. I'm about to break down the door. And so I just turned around and kicked the door. And on the 3rd kick, it flew open.
Inside, an odor so overwhelming and ghastly, Carletha retches and covers her nose.
Did you know what that was? No, I've never smelled death before.
The house was like clean, but it was water everywhere. And I was howling, what's going on? What's going on?
Vicki, Carletha, and Deanna's daughters follow the stream flowing from the back of the house.
Her door to her bedroom was like closed. So I took my fingers and I like pushed it.
And it fell off the hinges. And then that's when we saw the bedroom.
Deanna's room is trashed, the scene of a brutal fight.
Her table in her room was flipped over. Her jewelry was everywhere, like stuff was just a
Her room
mess.
was bombarded. That's what it looked like.
Something happened in here. Her room is tore up.
Okay, ma'am, I'm sending police. I need everybody back outside.
But inside the attached bathroom, something worse, something truly horrible and haunting.
Okay.
Oh my God.
What is it?
Shut the door.
Miss Cook, did you find her? Miss Cook? Miss Cook? Miss Cook?
Vicki can't answer. What she sees leaves her sickened beyond words.
And I walked in the bathroom and I pushed the door open. And I seen her in the water and I screamed. And it was.
Who did you see?
I saw Deanna in that water. Oh, God.
Through her tears, Vicky has an uncontrollable surge of rage.
I just started screaming, he did it. He said he was gonna do it, and he did it. He did it.
You had no question of who did this?
No question at all. But I had strength from God to keep me from doing what I wanted to do.
What was that?
Go killing myself.
I stay just to this day.
I think about it a lot.
Something happened in here.
Deanna Cook has been found dead, discovered by her family strangled, drowned, and decomposing in a running bathtub.
Oh my God.
What is it?
We had a vivid picture of how our mama died, so we get to relive that picture.
That picture still haunts Deanna's family, and so does another 911 call that came in just one day before she was brutally murdered.
911, this is Pat. What's your emergency? I have a stalker.
And there were a lot more chilling calls for help.
He's been out here in his house son all day long. He's been out here across the street watching my house. I don't know what his plan is.
Deanna Cook lived in fear for years.
If you can look up my name, you can see it's 100,000, about 1,000 complaints. But ain't nobody doing nothing.
Deanna's mother claims that day the cops didn't consider the call an emergency.
I told her to call the police, and she said that she did, but they won't do anything.
Deanna Cook made her last 911 call on the day of her murder, and we have to warn you, it is terrifying.
Dallas 911, what is your emergency? Hello? Do you need police, fire, ambulance? I need an address.
Deanna is not in a position to talk to the 911 operator. She's being attacked. She's fighting for her life. And she was angry. But as the call goes on, Deanna becomes far more fearful. And Deanna is petrified.
Please, I'm not doing nothing! Please, baby!
It's clear who was there with her and who was doing this. Oh yes, it was very clear.
Please, Delvecchio! Delvecchio, please! Please, Delvecchio! Please! Delvecchio, please!
You hear Delvecchio talking to her.
What's he saying?
I think he was mocking her.
Delvecchio is Delvecchio Patrick, Deanna's enraged ex-husband. He has no idea every second of his brutal attack on Deanna is being recorded on her cell phone in a 911 call.
We're police. I'm not doing nothing to you. We're police.
Where's the police now? As though there's nobody here to help you now. Where's the police? And of course, he flat out, I'm gonna kill you.
He says that.
Over and over.
I'm chief. I'm chief. I'm chief.
Then, horribly, Delvecchio Patrick makes good on his sickening threat and chokes the life out of Deanna Cook.
You hear her like gasping for air or choking. You hear the water in the background, and then it goes silent.
Silence for 15 more horrifying minutes until finally...
Hello, ma'am. Do you need police, fire, ambulance?
Tragically, this is not Delvecchio Patrick's first act of violence against Deanna. Cops would uncover a terrifying and long history of abuse.
How long did it take for you to figure out who did this to your sister? I immediately knew. No question. No questions.
And Deanna's family worried about Delvecchio from the very start.
Before they even got married, he used to beat on her, but she married him because she thought she could help him.
She thought marrying him would change
When
things.
he would stop.
But he didn't.
No,
Did it get worse?
it got worse.
Worse, including a night of explosive violence that saw a jealous and enraged Delvecchio beating Deanna senseless, and in a hint of things to come, choking her unconscious.
When she woke up, all of her clothes were gone. He had removed her clothes, and she ended up running out the house to a neighbor's house. He could have killed her that day.
He tried. That was the third time.
It's the latest in a long list of assaults that send Delvecchio to county jail time and time again.
He would go to jail for days and get out.
And then the cycle would begin again
Right.
and again.
Right.
Finally, Deanna has had enough. She divorces Delvecchio and files papers to keep him away.
She had an active restraining order on him.
But Delvecchio's threats never stopped.
You heard Delvecchio threaten to kill your daughter.
I did. And I told her to leave him alone. I said, he's serious. He's gonna do it.
You're the police.
Those are the shouts of a madman, Delvecchio Patrick, taunting his ex-wife, Deanna Cook, as he brutally chokes and drowns her. But this 911 operator isn't sending help.
Hello, ma'am. Do you need police, fire, ambulance?
It has many asking, including the district attorney, if this isn't an emergency, what is?
So what happens? Where are the police? Like he says, where are the police?
It took too long for a unit to be assigned. It took too long.
How long did it take?
It was, the unit didn't arrive, I believe, until 50 or so minutes after the call was made.
50 minutes? 50 minutes too late to save Deanna Cook.
It was like, they wanted to hurry. He didn't care. He didn't care. They didn't care.
One of the reasons it took so long is because Deanna called the 911 operator on her cell phone.
If it's a landline, they can know exactly where the call is coming from and they can send out units. She's trying to figure out where this call is coming from. And so she's having to look back through prior calls and prior history to figure out the location of the call.
When officers do finally arrive, they knock, look in the windows, and when they get no response, the DA says it's hard to believe, but they leave.
With someone pleading for their life, begging someone not to kill them, someone saying, I'm gonna kill you. And nothing more was done but a knock. We'll look through the window and back to the police station.
Why critical information wasn't relayed to officers and why this call didn't receive the priority it deserved, I don't know exactly why. You know, we failed Deanna, all of us. We all did, in some respect.
Would the same system that failed to save her life bring Deanna Cook justice?
My job was to hold Delvecchio Patrick accountable, and so I really was really trying to make the focus on him.
Delvecchio stands before a jury charged with first-degree murder. He pleads not guilty. His defense, that Deanna had a history of drug use, and what the 911 call recorded was Deanna hallucinating that Delvecchio was attacking her.
Did he show remorse?
No, he was cold. I mean, Delvecchio Patrick was a controlling, jealous sociopath. He wanted to control Deanna more than anything else. And if he couldn't control her, he was going to kill her.
But when Deanna's mom, Vicki Cook, takes the stand, her pain is very real. You can hear a pin drop as Vicki again lives through the horrible memory of finding her eldest child dead.
I looked to my right, and then I looked to my left, and I saw like a shadow. A shadow behind the curtain, and I started screaming because it was her. And the water was still running. The water was still running. And I just said, he killed her. He said he was going to do it. And he did it. He did it. He did it.
takes a break, allowing Vicky to compose herself. But when she returns, she's seething as Deanna's final 911 call is played.
What is wrong with you?
Shooting daggers through Del Vecchio with her eyes as she hears her daughter desperately pleading for her life.
I wanted the tape to play over and over so he can hear her screaming and he can hear what he did and get some kind of remorse from that, because he didn't have any when we was in court.
Please, Del Vecchio. Please.
Deanna's haunting voice from beyond the grave sending shivers through the jury.
Del Vecchio, please. Please,
And it seals his fate. Del Vecchio Patrick is found guilty of first-degree murder. And if there is any lingering doubt about the devil who took Deanna's life, Del Vecchio's horns are on full display during the victim's impact statement.
He took a mother away from 2 children.
When Deanna's daughter was giving her statement, Del Vecchio gave her the finger, and...
No.
Yes.
Del Vecchio gave her the middle finger?
That's correct.
Their time to be cathartic and get out their pain. He gives them more pain and more hate?
That's Del Vecchio Patrick.
He's a person with no feelings, no soul, no conscience. Like he born of the devil.
The judge takes notice and hammers Del Vecchio Patrick with a virtual life sentence.
Assess his punishment at confinement in the Institutional Division of the Texas Department of Criminal Justice for 85 years.
Despite the conviction, the family has now filed a civil suit against the city of Dallas. But outrage at Deanna's tragic death has already led to change. The city completely revamping its 911 emergency response system.
There were massive changes to the system after this case. Staffing has been increased by a large margin. And I also know that domestic violence calls like this are given a higher priority, and they deal with these calls with more urgency at the 911 call center.
And Deanna's family, while still reeling from her savage murder, created a foundation in her name, Deanna's Voice.
We have events. We have a scholarship fund, a program called Breaking the Barriers that's basically giving back to those families who unexpectedly are also victims. So like we were victims. And so we called it Deanna's Voice so that we can shine a light on those people that voices are being taken from them.
If Del Vecchio is watching the show, what would you say to him that he needs to know from your heart to his?
I forgive you. I hate you did what you did, but I forgive you, because I can't make it to heaven with hatred of you in my heart, so I have to forgive you.